name is Ed Jones. Thanks for joining us today. And it's my pleasure to introduce Pastors Justice and Pastor Dawn Ekejiuba of Above All Christian Center. Pastor Justice, Pastor Dawn, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for having us.
There's been some exciting news about wonderful things happening at this Above All Christian Center where you're pastoring. But first, let's talk a little bit about yourselves. Would you like to introduce yourselves to our viewers today?
I am Pastor Justice Ekejiuba, the founder and the senior pastor of Above All Christian Center. And this is my beautiful wife. And I just want to say a little bit about me to some of you that are watching tonight. I just want to say a little bit about me. I am, like I said, I'm a senior pastor and the founder of Above All Christian Center. And I am from Nigeria. And God sent me here for a time like this. And I believe there is something exciting that is going on in Above All Christian Center. Because we started the church 3 years ago. And God has been moving mightily. They told me that Boston is not a Bible, but something cannot happen here. But God has sent us in Boston for a time like this. Because we are going to change what people think about Boston. And that's why we're here. And I'm going to let my wife speak more about who we are.
Okay. Now, Pastor Dawn, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm Pastor Dawn Ekejiuba. I am the wife of the senior pastor and founder of Above All Christian Center. And this is my best friend that I'm sitting next to here today. Amen. A little bit about me. I am originally from St. Matthews, South Carolina. It's a small little town that's not even found on the map. It's about 60 miles from the the capital of South Carolina, which is Columbia. And although that's where I was born, I only spent probably a little part of my childhood. My mom migrated to Boston, Massachusetts in the late 70s.
Okay.
And so I grew up, went to school here, grammar school and high school, and of course college. So I grew up in the city of Boston.
So would you consider yourself a Bostonian?
I would like to think so. But certainly my southern roots come out every now and then.
Okay.
I can make some macaroni and cheese and some sweet potato pies that will take me right back to South Carolina. So I got a little bit of both.
That's great. That's great. Now, how did you know that you were supposed to be a pastor? Was there a calling or something specific that made you a pastor?
One night, I remember, I can't remember the exact date, but I was driving, I heard a voice that I've never heard before, and said to me, I'm calling you to set your people free. I was shocked, and the voice directed me to pull over. And then I pulled over, I was shaking. I remember picking up a pen. I didn't have a pen, I didn't have a paper. I opened my car. The only thing I see in a small napkin, it said, write above all. I write down above all. And the voice said, I'm going to use you to change the nation. I write it down, I didn't pay attention to it. After that, I don't know where I put the paper. A couple years later, many ways, God showed many ways. I was working I have a job in nursing home, taking care of Alzheimer's disease people, patients. And I remember coming to work one, Alzheimer's, they don't know what they're saying. I remember one afternoon walking in, the guy looked at me and said, you are wasting your time here. What? Go and answer the God that is calling you. And he talked and talked and talked. I was shaking in my chair. By the time I realized myself, I said, what are you saying? He didn't say any of that, and I know God is talking to me. But to cut every story short, I remember traveling to Houston, Texas for a program. I was in that church, about 100 and something acres. Beautiful church. Go back to my hotel room. When I was in my hotel room, and God spoke to me about above all. And that's when I said, God, I go back to Boston. I'm going to surrender to do this you call me to do.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about Above All Christian Center. Why the name Above All?
The reason for the name is God gave it to me. Like I told you in the other story that I was driving by and God gave it to me. And I asked God the same question. when I was in Eastern, God took me to the book of Deuteronomy. That is the first time finding that there's above all. There's a lot of places in the Bible God talk about above all. So above all has a principle. There's something you got to do to become above all. God is above all. And again, in whenever you see above all Christian Center, under it you see where God is above all. So there is, God is above all. I am not above all. But because God is my Father, I'm above all.
Okay. Now you mentioned Deuteronomy. Pastor Don,
Mm-hmm.
can you tell me a little bit, above all is in Deuteronomy?
Sure. As Pastor said, Deuteronomy chapter 28, starting at the very beginning. And in most Bibles, there's a subtitle there that says, the blessings that come through obedience. And as Pastor said, the Lord speaks about, if you obey my commands, I shall set you high above all nations on earth. And that's where God gave the name of the church to pastor, Above All Christian Center. Okay. So there's those blessings that come through obedience. So when people come to Above All Christian Center, and notice we have that word center there and not Above All Christian Church, because we believe that we're going to serve people in a number of different capacities.
Okay.
This ministry is going to grow to thousands and tens of thousands. And so the word center there encompasses daycare centers, encompasses Bible institutes, encompasses homeless shelters, and so forth and so on. And so that word center there, that's the reason we use center as opposed to church. Okay. When people hear only church, they think just the sanctuary. And so God is going to do a lot in this ministry. Though we're young, this is just the beginning. I'm excited to be part of it.
We've been hearing that this is an exciting and fast-growing church. How old is Above All Christian Center?
Above all, we just celebrated our 3rd year last week.
Last week, okay. And it's fast-growing. Tell me a little bit about the style of worship.
Wow. You want to hear about it?
Yes, absolutely.
It's crazy here. We do things that no church does.
Okay.
What we do here is you walk through the door and you go out being empowered.
Okay.
We change life. We believe that God has called us. Our motto is to empower people, to change life, to win souls into the kingdom. Not only changing poor people, not only changing people who are depressed, we are changing all over. We believe that millionaires will come here and become get more money. It doesn't matter who you are that come into Above All. The style of worship is a little bit of every church.
Okay, so are you really changing lives? Are you really impacting lives?
We are changing a lot of life. Okay. There is testimonies. There are people that come in broken. There are people that are disappointed about churches. There are people that church have hurt. As a matter of fact, we're reaching people that are tired of church. Okay. Because what is going on is, it's not really that people hate Jesus. People hate what the church represents. Okay. So people don't hate Jesus. So if you show them the love of Christ, and what we are doing in Above All is showing people the love of Christ.
Okay. Hold that thought for a second. Let's now listen to some of the people who have been to Above All Christian Center and how their lives have been changed and impacted as a result of being here. So what was life like before you came to Above All Christian Center?
My life.
Your spiritual life.
My spiritual life. I didn't have a spiritual life. Okay. I grew up in church. So I knew God. I had somewhat of a relationship with God, because of my parents and how I was raised. But personally, I didn't have one because I wasn't seeking one. And so I really, my life before coming here was pretty much in turmoil. I thought it was good because, I was successful, had a job and children and, house, a car, and things like that. But inside, it wasn't good at all.
Oh, okay. So what was it like inside?
Stressful, emotional, depressed for about a year before I came here.
Okay.
Because of different things that had gone on in my life. So, alone, I felt even though I had a lot of people around me, I felt very alone and isolated. So how did things change after you got here? I I feel genuine love here. The people here are, you know, they love you, they care about you. When they ask you how you're doing, they really want to know. They're not just saying it because it's just something that you ask someone when you see them. You know, hi, how are you? Sometimes people say that and they really don't care how you're doing. But here, people genuinely care about you. And that's what made me feel good about coming here and deciding to want to join the ministry here.
Okay. So what do you think about Pastor Justice?
I think Pastor Justice is wonderful. I think he is just an amazing person, amazing human being. Aside from, you know, being a pastor and following him spiritually, he's just genuinely cares about how you're doing. And I've been as an adult, I've belonged to 2 churches.
Okay.
And never had a relationship with my pastor, never had my pastor sit down and actually want to talk to me and want to know, you know, my background and what's going on with me and what my goals are and where I want to be in 5 years. I've never had that. I just go to church and leave and go home. I've never had a pastor want me to really be involved in ministry so quickly. You know, before I was even really officially a member here, he wanted me to be a part of the ministry. So I just think that he is just amazing in how he tries to uplift you and empower you, you know, so fast and quickly.
Okay. You've been here for several months. What has it been like?
Wow, it's been great. You know, there's freedom of worship. You know, nobody will judge you when you shout or you jump or you prostrate when you are worshiping God. There's that freedom. And also when I came here, you know, I had so many tears. I feel I had so many wounds, but all those tears have been wiped, and those wounds, you know, I've been healed, and I'm happy. I can jump. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Pastor Justice?
Wow, he's the best gift ever for me. And his wife, Pastor Dawn, for me, since I came to America, they are the best gift I ever got here in America, because God has given them big heart to accommodate all of us. They have a pastoral heart. You know, even when we have whatever Pastor Dawn says, sandpaper relationships, they are just there. They don't take sides with anybody. They just look for the facts, and they bring you together. They comfort you. They show you this is where you went wrong. This is what you need to do, and just things are good. Yeah, I love them.
So if there was one thing that you could say that you like most about Above All Christian Center, what would it be?
Wow, the worship is great. The worship and the love is there. People love each other, and they reach out to each other. I really love that. That's the beauty of Above All. Yeah.
Above All really puts, you know, people like above all in terms of the sense of love and care. And I just really like how being in this church, I really feel a sense of community and a sense of people that really honestly want to grow.
Okay, so is Above All Christian Center a place for a young person, someone your age?
My age. I would say this is the place. With that, I wouldn't just say a cliche like that. I would start off by saying, is like, what do you truly desire? Because I feel like Above All is a place that you will come, and you don't need to worry about walking in the right way. If you walk in with a limp, walking with a limp. If you come in with your hat tilted to the side, come in with your hat tilted to the side. But what is it that you desire? Because at the end of the day, Above All, I feel like it's raw to the sense, same way as a pastor, that Jesus Christ, God, the person that we come to church to worship, is good and fun and delightful. And I feel like Above All is so raw that it gives you that. And as a young person, what we're turned off to a lot of times is that, oh, I'm going to be in church. It's going to be 2 hours, 2 dreadful hours. It's going to be too long. But I feel like as a young person, you'll come into a place where you can experience fun in our activities. Church we always have something to eat after church. Everyone loves food. There's always something to do.